Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Samuel aka Sam.UI and I'm a product designer based in Lagos, Nigeria. In this video, we'll be learning about component properties, the main benefits of component properties, how and when to use the Boolean tests and then the swap instance properties, and lastly I'm going to be showing you how to combine component properties with component um, variants. Alright, so let's dig in. What are component properties? Component properties simply enable you to assign name and value to elements that can be customized in a component, such as an instance that can be swapped, a test layer that can be updated, and lastly, element or layers visibility that can be toggled. The main benefits of applying component properties are: one, reduction in manually created variants. Um, Component property actually help us to reduce the number of manually created variants we can have, and this will save us a lot of time. Number two is easier discovery of which parts of a component can be customized. And lastly, closer alignment between design and code, which is really awesome. Alright, I'm gonna go into Figma right now to quickly show you what I'm talking about. Right here, I have a set of component variants which have been I created a couple of days ago. Okay, so my goal is to replicate exactly this using component property. But before I continue, I'm just going to copy one of these and paste it right here to show you the properties of this component um, variants. Now, but now that I've selected this button, this particular variant, uh, I can come to the right hand side. Here I have the radius properties, I have the states, and I have icons. So I can toggle between all of these properties and values. For example, by default I have semi-rounded. I can select fill and I'm gonna get something like this. I can say I need to see an overstate, which is this, or go back to default. And also the icon property. By default, I'm seeing no icon, right? I can decide to say I want icon left, or I want icon right, or I want only icon. That is, I don't want text. So this is what we are going to be recreating using component property and combining it with component variants. So I'm going to delete this. Okay. All right. So on this side, right, these are the things that is expected to take note of in terms of the properties that we want our button to have. Number one is the radius property. We want to we want to be able to show whether we want a semi-rounded radius or a pure radius. Right. And the next one is the states. Right. We want to be able to establish an interactive state, whether we want it, what it should look like when it is in default state or over state. And also we have icons. We should be able to determine where we want to place our icon. Either we want it on the left, or we want it on the right, or we don't want icon at all, or we want only icon. Yeah. And also whether we want to swap icon, of course, because what we have here is just a placeholder icon. Definitely, we should be able to, replace the icon as we proceed. Okay, so the last one is text. Right? Our text should be able to, we should be able to customize our text no matter what. Now, in order to start, right, um, when you need to do something like this, definitely you need to make use of variants, component variants. So you make use of component variants if you need to make a major visual change, right, to your components. For example, this radius, right, you need component variants. States, if you need to communicate interactive states like the default, over, pressed, and so on, you need a variant to be able to do this. Now, for icon, right, you want to be able to hide and show the visibility of this icon, right? You will need um, component property to be able to do this, which is the Boolean property to be specific. And for swap icon, you will need the instance swap property to be able to do this. And lastly, for text, you will need to be able to, again, this one you have to apply your component property to this, specifically the text property. Now, by now, you understand um, when to use component property or component variant. So let's start with this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to create my text layer. I'm just going to name this button. Okay, so on the right hand side, in the text property section, I can change my font size, my font type if I want. I can change the weight if I want. I'm just going to select medium. The size is fine. The line height is fine. The This is fine also. This is fine. Then the alignment, I'm going to center it. I'm going to use center alignment. Let me leave it here for now. Okay, so in order to proceed, I need to convert this to an auto layout to get a more sophisticated functionality. Now, in order to do this, I can press Shift A on my keyboard, and right here, this button has been converted to our text layer has been converted to an auto layout. So I'm going to rename this to I just double click on the name to rename. Another way to do this is to come to the layer panel and then right click or double click to rename. So I'm going to call this button let me say secondary. Okay, now the next thing I want to do is to adjust the padding. So right here under the auto layout property, I can first center alignment, click on center alignment, um, adjust the horizontal padding to let me say I'm going to use, let me start with 24 here. Rather than let's do 32, let's do 24. And then okay, and then this I can use 16 for this. That spacing, if I have more than one item here, this is just telling me that the spacing between the two items should be 16 pixels, and that's what I've done here. Let me delete one of them. Okay, so the next thing is to create my icon placeholder. But before that, let's quickly style this button a little bit. I would want to give it a fill color. I just need to come here and click on the plus button to apply a fill color. By default, it is white. I can decide to change this if I want. Alright, this looks good. Then the text color, I can make that white to allow more contrast. Okay. Ah, so also the next one is the border radius. I can make this 12. No, so this looks nice. 12. And next is to create my component, my icon component. So I just need to come in here, um, pick the ellipse tool and draw a circle. I can make this 24 pixel, which is fine. 24 pixel. Please, because you're going to be applying a component properties to this icon, like we have highlighted here, that means you need to make sure this icon is a component. So in order to do that, I have to come in here, select the circle, and then click here to create components. Alright, so I'm going to rename this component to be icon placeholder. Okay, so from there I can copy this using Command C or Control C on Windows. I'll come in here and paste. Okay, as you can see, I have this. So another thing I can do here is so I have my button here, and currently I have the text layer done, and I also have the icon placeholder. Now from our existing, we've been able to create a text layer and the right icon placeholder, remaining the icon the left icon placeholder. So in order to do this, I just need to select this particular placeholder and duplicate, and then move it to the left hand side, which is what I have here. Okay, next is we need to start creating our properties. So before we can do anything like that, we need to first convert this to a component. Please note that you will not be able to apply any component property unless your element is converted to a component. So in order to do this, I can select this and then come to the top here and click create component. Alright, so our button secondary component has been created, and then we are ready to start applying properties. So we'll start with the text property. We want this text to be customizable, right? So I'm going to select the text, and on the right hand side, I'll scroll down to the content section, and I'll click this little icon here that says apply text property. Now it gives me a dialog box with name, so I can name this particular property. What do I want to call it? I can call this button text, and the value can be anything. The name can be anything you desire, but as much as possible, use names that are meaningful and can be understood by anybody, particularly your developer. Okay, so I'm done here. I can click on create property. Now, our text property has been created, as you can see here. Now move on to the next one, which is icon. So for icon, we have left and right icon. Now the things we want to be able to do is we want to be able to hide and show this icon. Number one. Number two is we want to be able to swap it. That is, at any point in time, we should be able to replace any of these icons. So in order to do this, I'll start with the hide and show. So I'll select one of them and I'll come in here on the right hand side. Here this button here says apply instance swap property. Right. This is when you want to create instance swap. Right. Now for this, if we come to layer, this one allows you to toggle the visibility of that icon. So I can come in here and apply Boolean property to this. So in order to do this, I need to name my property. So I can say show icon left. The value is true, right? Because it's Boolean. So by default, it's true. It can be false or true. So I'll click create property. Now this property has been created and you can see the eye icon indicating visibility. The next one is to create the layer visibility for the right icon. So I will select the right icon and follow the same step. Come to the layer section and click this little icon to apply the Boolean property. So I'm going to name this show icon right and then click create. So next is to be able to replace this icon at any point in time. In order to do that, I have to select it and come over here to the right hand side and apply instance swap property. So I'll click this little icon, give my property a name. I'll call this swap icon left. Swipe icon. So this one will be swap icon left. Create property. And the next one, I'll repeat the same thing here. I just want to come in here, apply property. So actually, I can just still make use of the same thing. And if you need to edit any property, just select this and on the right hand side, for example, this swap icon left, I want to edit the property name. I can double click on it and edit it, then enter to save the change. Okay, so right now we've been able to take care of all the component properties. We've applied everything. We've applied the test property. We've applied the swap instance property as well as the Boolean property. Now, moving on to, or before we go on, let me quickly show you what this looks like. So I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, so that I can show you what the different properties we have. Now here you see that we have the button, the text property, which allows you to quickly customize your text right from here. This can be login, this can be create account, anything basically. And here you can show icons, left icon, you can toggle it off, right? You can toggle this off also. Can you see that? Good. Good. And also, there's one more thing that we've not created, and under text layer, we should be able to, under text property, we should be able to toggle visibility. We should be able to toggle visibility. That is, in order to achieve what we have here. this part, only icon. So to do this, I'll come back here, select my text layer, and come to the layer section on the right hand side and apply Boolean. Apply the Boolean property. So I'll create property and I'll call this show label. Okay, and it's already applied here. So if I come back to this instance, you see that right here I can toggle this to show just one icon, which is similar to what we have right here. Okay, now that is that for components, for applying component properties, and I'm going to move on to creating variants. Now that we have our property sets, it's time for us to create variants. What variants are we creating? Number one is radius. Number two is state. Now, I'll start with radius. Before I do this, I need to select the main component, and at the top here, I can click add variant. So we have our variant. Now, since we're working with radius, what I'm going to do here is to select this. Before we proceed, let's select the main component here, and then on the right hand side you see property 1. You can decide to say, okay, this property I want to rename it to radius. I want to call it radius. Good. So I can select this and give this a value. So this one will be semi-rounded, while this one would be peel. Now let's quickly work on our peel radius. Now I'll come over here after selecting this. I'll come over to the radius here and I will increase it. Let's do 24. Nope. I'll increase this until we get the perfect one. Okay, so I think this is good. So now we have our radius variant. Now we head over here and quickly show you the effect of that. So if I select this instance here, on the right hand side I can toggle between the radius, whether I want pure or I want semi-rounded. Okay, so next is to create our interactive states. In order to do this, first I'm going to select this bounding border and expand it so we have more space. Now the next thing to do here is to duplicate this. So we want to start with the what do you call it, the semi-rounded variant. So I will just duplicate this. To do this, I can hold down the option key on my Mac and drag to the other side and drop. So I've created this. Now to go on, I need to create additional property for our overstates. So to do this, I just need to select this main component and then come to property plus and then variant. Now I need to give my variant a name, and in this case I'll call it overstates. Because I have just two options, which is either on or off, I can make it a boolean by just giving it a value of true. This has been done. Now that we've created our overstate property, Um, Now, if you select this, you see on the right hand side that you have overstates here, which is what? True. Now, here, this is supposed to be semi-rounded. Let me correct that. Now, the reason why you have this is because there's a conflicting um, property here, property values here. Now, I'll held over here. If you select this first one, right, you can change this to false, admin, and type false. So let me select this back. You notice that the error is no longer showing here. So that means we are fine to go on. So right now we've been able to create overstate for this variant, these two variants. Next is for us to create overstate for this as well. But before we proceed, let's quickly make some adjustment to our overstate here. Okay, so I'm just going to take down the color a little bit. I'll head over to fill, and then I can take this down a little bit. I'm adjusting the lightness here. Let me use like 28, 26 is fine. Now let's use 28. Makes sense. Okay, so this is our overstate. In order to quickly preview this, I can come over to our instance here. On the right hand side, I can toggle between overstates here. As you can see, overstates on, off, on, like that. Okay, moving on to this, right? The next one is to create overstates for this as well. Right, I just need to duplicate this again like we did before. Right, and on the right hand side here, this is true. We leave it as true, overstate true, and then here overstate will be false, and that brings us to the end of this. So select this and let's see what we've done so far. I can come in here, select the radius, fill, and toggle the overstate however you want it. Oh, you've not actually adjusted this. So I'll just select this and quickly, because I want it to be the same as this, I can um, come to the fill section and just sample this color over here. Right. So when we come back here and check this out, we'll be able to toggle and see the visual changes in our over and default state, as you can see here. Yeah, good. So the last but not the least is instance swap. Now let's say I have this button, here, and then I want to replace this icon. Right? Let me do this. Okay, I want to replace this icon. I just need to select it, come to the right hand side. Under swap icon, I just need to click on this drop down and select any icon I want. So I can search. Let me do user if I have any user icon here. Search online view. Okay, so let me select this. As you can see, we're able to easily replace this icon even though it's a component. Now let's come over here and then adjust the color. So this is going to be white. I'm going to give this white and then maybe take it down a little bit. Okay. now we have our icons and our button is ready. Now if you compare these two, what we just did and what I have here before, we've been able to achieve the same thing but with less manual effort. Look at it here, we only have like 4 variants in all. Well, look at what we have here. It's a lot. So this is one of the awesomeness of component properties, what makes it really a huge update. Finally, I'm going to show you how the batch edit text works. um, First, let me show you from here. You notice that I didn't make use of any component properties here, but this is just purely component variants. So what I need to do in order to batch edit, I can select any text here, and you notice that just right under that there's a little icon here that says select all 12 matching layers. So once I click this, everything is selected. Then I can come to the right hand side under the context section and then edit it. I can change this to maybe login and then hit the enter key. Everything changes, as you can see here. Everything changes here. I can use anything basically. Create account. I have this. I can use whatever, and that is it. So this is how batch edit works. One more thing that I would like to clarify is this: if I'm to apply it to this, right, I will show you something here. Let me select this one. Remember that almost everything here have been convert to a component property, including the text. So if I click this and then I click on select all matching layers, you notice that on the context section here, right, I can't edit directly from here. It's because my selection is it's a component on it, so it's a property on its own. So that means I don't even need to do this in order to edit everything. What I can just do is, if I select any of this and I come to content, please note that text layer is still selected. I can right click here to go to the property, right? And any changes I make to the value will affect all the variants, of this particular component. For example, let me replace this with sign up. See that immediately everything is updated. So, but if I don't want to come in here to do all of this, I'm going to undo right now. I'm going to undo. So if I don't want to do this, what I can do to make sure I can edit on the right hand side is you have to detach this property. Right. So I'm going to select all and then detach this. Now I have this, so I can be able to make my edits right from here. So, and that is it for batch editing a text layer. So far, we've been able to cover components properties and their main benefits, how and when to apply Boolean test and the swap instance properties, and lastly, how to combine component properties with component variants. If you do enjoy this video, kindly like and share with your friends. And also, if you have any question or any topic that you would like me to make a video on, kindly put it in the comment section below. And thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Bye guys.